This week we're looking at the basics on the group you might say are the original rescue bots, the Autobot emergency response team, the PROTECTOBOTS. The original PROTECTOBOT toys were a team of 5 emergency vehicles that were designed for the Japanese toy line Diaclone. But Diaclone was cancelled before they could be released, and instead they were imported by Hasbro to become part of the Transformers toy line in 1986. The team consisted of overly cautious medic First Aid, an ambulance whose great compassion compelled him to fix even ordinary broken machines. Police car Streetwise, a dogged interceptor with a talent for observation and understanding. Pacifist Scout Groove, a police motorcycle who preferred living an easygoing life on the open road. Rescue helicopter Blades, whose role as team air support kept him from indulging his love of dirty, violent hand-to-hand brawling. And their leader, charismatic, action-loving fire engine Hotspot, who could also transform into a repair bay. The team combined to form the giant robot Defensor, who could project a protective force field and who placed his mission to defend human life above all else. Hotspot became Defensor's torso, and the other members became his limbs, each able to become either an arm or a leg, all totally interchangeable, able even to be mixed and matched with the other combiner teams designed the same way, including their Decepticon rivals, the Combaticons. The PROTECTOBOTS were added to the cast of the Transformers cartoon at the very end of its 2nd season. Unfortunately, Hasbro were late delivering the information on the team to the show's staff, which left no time to write an episode giving them an origin. Instead, they had to be quickly incorporated into the stories of 2 existing episodes, and so appeared with no explanation for where they had come from. 30 years later, the Transformers Collectors Club would retroactively provide an origin for them, identifying them as survivors of a dead Cybertronian colony on the planet Archon, who had been found and brought to Earth by the Autobots. In their introductory episodes, the team were shown operating out of their own headquarters in Central City, from which they rolled out to respond to emergencies. This idea was dropped for the team's appearances in the 3rd season, which included the spotlight episode, The Ultimate Weapon, though it did seem like the story mixed up the characters, as it depicted First Aid as the team's pacifist instead of Groove. In this episode, First Aid quit the PROTECTOBOTS after coming to believe that his pacifism was making him an ineffective member of the group, but he was convinced to return by Hotspot, who helped him see how valued and important his unique skills were to the team. The continued availability of the PROTECTOBOTS toys in 1987 ensured they appeared right up to the show's final episode. And they and the other combiners also enjoyed a major marketing push in Japan, where they starred in several pieces of original spin-off media, including the direct-to-video special Scramble City and the sequel series, The Headmasters. In the Marvel comic book, the PROTECTOBOTS were built on Earth, with supplementary stories published in the United Kingdom's version of the series explaining that their construction had been inspired by a vision of the future from the Autobot Matrix. The team debuted to battle the Combaticons in a video game world, and they would clash with them again while on a mission to apprehend Autobot deserter Blaster, though Hotspot ultimately decided to let Blaster go after learning that the reason he deserted his duty was to protect humans. UK exclusive stories saw Blades enjoy a solo adventure with counter-terrorist team Action Force, while Streetwise tussled with Starscream in a memorable Christmas tale. But after the PROTECTOBOTS toys were discontinued in 1988, the team was quietly phased out of the comic. The toys were re-released in Europe and Australasia in 1991, but this didn't lead to them returning for any new stories. It was planned to re-release the toys again with new colour schemes as part of 1993's Generation 2 toy line, but this release was cancelled. However, the team did still make a few appearances in Marvel's Generation 2 comic, with Hotspot notably giving up his life to stop terrorist organisation Cobra from getting a hold of Cybertronian technology. Of the original Scramble City-style combiner teams, the Protectobots have always kind of been the other guys. Never quite as famous, popular, or as widely featured in new Transformers series in the 21st century as the others. Still, the idea of a team of Autobot emergency vehicles has been revisited from time to time, with other incarnations of the Protectobots over the years having included a Micromaster version of the team released in the Transformers Universe toy line in 2004, which replaced Blades with classic emergency-themed Autobots Prowl and Red Alert, and a team of drones from 2010's Power Core Combiners toy line, which were controlled by and combined with the Autobot Stakeout. As for the original Protectobots, for a long time, the only major role they had in any new media was in Dreamwave Productions' 2003 comic book miniseries, War Within: The Dark Ages, in which they were caught up in the evil schemes of the Fallen, and took on Decepticon combiner Devastator. However, at times, individual members have taken the spotlight apart from the team. For instance, First Aid enjoyed a prominent supporting role in the IDW Publishing comic book More Than Meets the Eye as Deputy Medical Officer aboard the starship Lost Light, while Blades returned to television as a main cast member in 2011's Rescue Bots cartoon. Though this version of the character couldn't have been more different from the rough, tough original, being a timid Autobot who hated heights and flying. All 5 members of the team would receive various new toys over the years, though they were all retools and recolors of other characters that didn't combine, and sometimes they had to go by different names, due to Hasbro losing the trademarks on the originals, with Hotspot being renamed Hot Zone for a couple of years, and Streetwise being redubbed Street Star and Street Smart on different occasions. Over time, the team's ranks have also been added to, starting with a 2012 series of model kits by Japanese manufacturer Kabaya, which added 2 new members to the group: Heatrock, a drill tank who became a chest plate for Defensor, and Skyfeather, a VTOL jet who became the combiner's shield. Alternatively, Heatrock and Skyfeather could merge into a torso and take Hotspot's place in the combination, forming a new robot named Gaia Guardian. Another new Protectobot joined the team in 2015's Combiner Wars toy line, which at last saw the release of a full set of brand new toys of the group able to combine in the classic interchangeable style. For this series, Groove was reworked to become a chest plate for Defensor, and his place as a limb was taken by new member Rook, an armoured SWAT vehicle characterised as a strategist and a recent military academy graduate who hadn't expected to wind up as part of a rescue team. A limb version of Groove would later be released for fans wanting to build a more classic Defensor, and in 2016 the Combiner Wars team was further expanded with another new figure exclusive to official convention BotCon, paramedic vehicle Medics, a dry-humoured battlefield medic. The release of the Combiner Wars toys was promoted with a crossover storyline in IDW's comics, which brought the Protectobots together as a team for the first time in the company's stories. Hotspot, Groove, Blades, and Streetwise were assigned as security to accompany First Aid when he took a patient from the Lost Light back to Cybertron for treatment. They arrived on their homeworld in the middle of a rampage by Devastator and found themselves dragged into the fight when Starscream hastily used the mystical Enigma of Combination to fuse the 5 confused bots, plus nearby civilian Rook, into Defensor, who helped end Devastator's threat. The team later returned to the Lost Light and discovered that the mutinous escapologist Getaway had seized command of the ship in their absence. Their attempt to take Getaway down was a disaster, ending with Rook dead and all the others except First Aid, who escaped, incapacitated by Getaway's hired muscle, Starsaber. Despite being some of the biggest stories to feature the team, the PROTECTOBOTS IDW adventures were a confusing affair muddled by art and continuity errors, which introduced and then dispatched the team almost as abruptly and haphazardly as the original cartoon had. As such, even after 35 years, it still feels like the PROTECTOBOTS haven't achieved their full potential. But while they're waiting for their next chance, we can still count on them to mend and defend man and machine alike. And those are the basics on the PROTECTOBOTS. Tell me about your favourite member, toy, or story in the comments. Like and subscribe for more Transformers history and lore, and remember to click the bell to be notified about new episodes, or get early access to them by supporting the show on Patreon.